Welcome to the Sam Dean Podcast, where we talk about life, uncensored. Today on the show, I have Alisha Munden, founder of Dash Health and Wellness. Our show is sponsored by Van Zandt Coffee, the best tasting, locally roasted coffee you can get. We sell it online at www.vanzandtcoffee.com. And you can get it at CrossFit Van Zandt, both locations, Canton, Texas, or Athens, Texas. Our show is also sponsored by Alisha's company, Dash Health and Wellness. Look her up on Facebook or Instagram, Alisha Munden, and she can help you with weight loss. So thank you very much for listening. Here is Alisha Munden. All right. Hello, everybody. Hey, Alisha.
Hey, Sam.
Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Move your mic up by your mouth a little bit. Take the strap off of it right there.
Oh, there we go.
And then just move it a little closer. Now say something.
Okay.
All right. I think we're good now.
Good.
All right. So we almost made this mistake. I want to have somebody over to do the podcast. Of course, we're at Van Zandt Coffee right now. But we talk and tell some funny stories before we even get on the mic. So we waste them.
Okay.
You know, so that's a mistake I usually make. So I was like, well, let's get this thing started.
You want to get serious right now?
Well, we don't have to get serious. I'm just saying I just wanted to hit the record button so we could capture some of the stuff we were talking about.
Oh, I got you. Don't miss a thing.
Yeah.
Don't miss a thing.
All right. Tell me about Dash Health and Wellness briefly, and then we're going to go back.
Okay.
And I want to know everything from the beginning, and then I want to know, and there's no time limit today, so.
Okay. So Dash Health and Wellness came about whenever we were on a journey to get healthy and stay in a wellness lifestyle. But the reason why we called it Dash is because I live next door to a cemetery. And I was walking out there one day. It's really beautiful out there. And I was walking one day and I saw, they have like these old monuments, and it said, 1886 dash whatever, 1900.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why we called it Dash Health and Wellness is because I said, really, that dash, it does matter when you're born. It does matter when you die. But what counts is the dash.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
it. Make it count. Make the dash count. So whatever you're passionate about or whatever your journey is, ours just happens to be health and wellness, because that's where we have we've gotten our greatest victories and our biggest struggles. So that is why we just make this life count, because here's the reality: we get one life.
Yep.
So that's how it came about. And actually, it is an LLC. We just filed that within the last 6 months. So we're formally known as Justin and Alisha Munden.
Yep.
So anyway, but we did have to come up with a name, and that was so fitting. So I even have had pictures taken out at the cemetery, by the dash.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's so true. That you get one life to live. You might as well do everything you want to do with no regrets.
But you have to take care of yourself to do those things that you want to do. Right. Because if you don't, this life will be robbed from you. That's what I like to say. It's robbed from you, even though it's your choice.
Yeah.
You can make it or break it. And I'm not talking about trauma and things like that. Obviously that happen, but we make choices every day to be proactive or reactive in that dash.
So what do you guys help people with?
Well, I would say that my wheelhouse is mainly emotional behavior. That'll be another part of the story that I'll share. In 2018, Justin and I found ourselves in a really dark place physically. We have been obese. I don't remember not being obese. We have one daughter. She is 26, and I've been obese since she was born, so 26 years. And 2018, I did go to a physician here in town, and thinking, you know, my anthem was that I was a really healthy, overweight girl. That's what I would say, which makes zero sense whatsoever. But so I went to the doctor and discovered that I had some issues, cardio issues, and so I ended up with a echocardiogram. Yeah. And it resulted in a few things that were on a friend of mine's autopsy report at 36. And so it was reality to me. I thought, this is... and she told me it's 100% weight related. Yeah. You have total control over this. So in 2018, I reached out to a friend of mine who had been successful with weight loss. And we connected. She helped me, but mainly it was the emotional behavior behind the obesity.
What we know is that has the most to do with obesity, the emotional
It's
part.
Emotional, yes.
So 70% of Americans are obese.
Yes.
It's not simply just you like the taste of snack food or whatever.
No.
It's not.
No. Actually, it becomes such a mental issue, and I say that lightly, just sitting here, but truly, it really is. Like, you know, like if you're on a binge because of emotional, it's just like or alcohol. You know, if you're on it's like there's no stopping point. So where a normal meal or a normal snack would be satisfied because you would just be simply using it for fuel and just moving on. It's like you on that binge, like there's no, like it's censor, like there's no stopping point. You just keep going. Like your physical body really can't even hold what you're putting in, but yet you're doing it because your mind is taking over your body at the time, and that emotional behavior is just, you know, it continues. And then, you know, let's just say you have really 10 bad days, so you're binging 10 bad days. Well, it results over years. Yeah.
It's a third of a month.
Yeah. As is, you know, it's so funny. You can change just a few habits and be on the flip side. And in a third of the month, you could do good things, not binging, pouring things into your body that's, fuel. Yeah. And you can see a change just 10 days, just like you see one in just 10 days on the opposite side. So that's how we came to an awareness, is because we were almost desperate. It wasn't because we wanted to change. Well, we wanted to change. We just didn't have tools, or I think we operated in such a scarcity mindset and just really not knowing what to do, afraid of change. We just didn't do it. But we trusted somebody. Yeah. And so we reached out to her, and she helped us through. She gave us a few tools through a company, but then after that, we just started edifying ourselves and learning about health and wellness, working out, CrossFit, all the things.
You can say it. Yeah. You're doing wonderful at CrossFit. So
Thank you.
You and Justin, so how much weight have you lost?
215 pounds combined. I lost 100 pounds. He lost 115. Yeah.
So you've lost 100 pounds. He's lost 115.
Right.
So
our mattress was like, see, you don't need a new one.
Mattress
so you don't need a new mattress.
Thank you. It's funny, but
it's funny, but true.
And we have, well, you obviously know you do CrossFit in Athens at CrossFit Van Zandt South, and I get all kinds of people in, and I get really fit people in that think they know more than I do, which is possible. I don't know everything. I get obese people in, which 70% of America's obese, so I expect to have obese people. We've had people lose over 100 pounds in our gym, a few people. But a lot of times we try to document what folks are truly eating first. And I have to tell you, a lot of the people I've asked, and Ashley and I talk about it sometimes, but they're like, well, I eat pretty healthy. I eat like a lot of salads and baked chicken and broccoli. I just want to say, no, no, you don't.
No.
You know, at some point, you might eat that stuff too, but at some point, you're making a bad decision.
Right.
And I know they're ashamed to tell somebody like me that, which they shouldn't be, because that's what I do for a living. That's why I hear it all the time, and it sucks to admit that. But it's really, they may not know that they're actually doing it, or they don't want to believe that they're binging on bad foods.
Right. Right. Yeah, I would say I think that's whenever I had a shift and change, is whenever I really had to take ownership of my behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with that. If I cry, don't let it scare you.
Okay.
But I really struggled with that. You know,
Don't let it scare you if I start crying, because you're crying. Okay.
Well, it's because whenever I was going through those changes, you know, like I was scared, because I really did think I was going to die. I mean, my friend did. And so, you know, like that was the motivation at the time. That really wasn't my why, but it was my motivation at the time. I knew I had a mind shift change even with that motivation, because it suddenly became about health and not about a family picture or vacation. Mm-hmm. And even though I had always been obese, like I would fight for it for a little bit and then binge. Something would happen, or, you know, and I'll go deeper into that, but mentally I would go somewhere else, and then I would fight, you know, mm-hmm. and then I would fight my way back to unhealthy, and then I would fight my way back to healthy. And, you know, so I never really finished it off though. And it's because I never really, I never dealt with issues, you know. Mm-hmm. I've been reading a book right now, and it's called, I don't even know what it's called, but it's by Craig Rochelle. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about, you know, you can't define what you don't know. You know, you can't defeat it if you don't define it. And so that was I suddenly became about health. But what my struggle was at first was I was really like, I drink wine, but I've never drank where I thought about it, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
And like, I wasn't binging. So then I was like consuming in my head about drinking. I wasn't drinking, but like my mind was there, or overspending, or, I mean, like there was, you know,
you had to have some vice or something to fill the void of not
the food, not the behavior. And so I just continued to press in because don't forget, I thought I was going to die. Mm-hmm. So I knew if I didn't press in, like, my options was a CPAP machine, and I ain't doing it. Just not doing it. Now, you know, if I had to, even now, if I had to, I would. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, I'm not doing that. And part of that is that I was not going to take ownership of all of this to fit, or people can't see me moving my hands. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to take ownership of all of my behaviors to fix. I mean, that's where my obesity came from. And losing weight was super easy. It really was. Now, I mean, I had bad days, but I'm talking like it was really easy. Going through personal development from 40 years or 40, over 40, that is not easy. And every day, I mean, I was telling Boog this morning, I was like, I speak affirmations over myself every single day. I walk in this gym. So my new affirmation this week, because of CrossFit Games, was, Alisha, you are going to be really good at that pull-up. So today you're going to be exceptional at negatives. Mm-hmm. So I constantly tell myself that stuff. And my dogs are really positive because I'm home by myself a lot. Yeah. So I speak to the dogs all the time too. I'm like, you're a great dog today. You know, You're not going to growl at anybody today because you're a great dog. You know, anyway, it sounds silly, but it really is. It's truthful. You start speaking those things over your life. It's biblical also. You
start believing it. I do it all the time.
And you start believing it. And so the getting the weight off was easy, but continuing to press in and personal development, and something always comes up. Yeah. You know, it's so funny, like when I first started coming here, you know, I cherry picked a WOD a lot. Workout of the day. If you don't know what that is, I learned that.
You only came to the ones that you were comfortable coming to.
It's it.
That's what that means.
Yes. And so in July, I'd been here since November, I think. In July this past year, I just said, this is no more for me. I will come 5 days a week. I don't, unless I'm out of town, but I don't care what it says.
The things that you don't like to do in workouts are the things that you need the most.
Yes.
Those are the things that are going to advance your fitness level.
I agree.
But you talk about the self-talk, the affirmations and stuff. Like I did that in the Army. I'd still do it to this day. If I do something that's really hard, I'm telling myself this is easy, and I'm laughing.
Right.
I'm trying to laugh at it, just because it takes my mind off, being hard or whatever, and it makes it go a little better, and it helps people around you.
I agree.
We, in cold water or whatever we would be doing in the Army or in the rain, carrying 100 pounds and just sucking, hungry, and we just start laughing about something. It's just like, just for that second, it takes your mind off, because you can start talking yourself down. If you get negative, and you can talk yourself into quitting.
Oh, for sure. Like my whole life.
And everyone wants to quit. Everybody that's quit something wants somebody to quit with them.
Right.
So you see these people coming over and start negative talking, and they're trying to get somebody to quit with them because they don't want to quit by themselves.
Right.
Which is a great thing about CrossFit is, at 9 o'clock or whenever you come to work out, you usually work out at 6 a.m., but you come in there, there's going to be 3 or 4 people in there that are going to do the warm-up. I'm going to talk about the workout, and you're going to do it no matter what. We're all going to do it. Unless unless the power gets shut off, we're still probably going to finish the workout.
No, we remember the one time we had
power
no power and we still did the workout.
Yeah. And then it doesn't matter how you do in the workout, you're still going to finish it. And then that victory is going to translate to another victory later in the day, and then you're going to have, maybe that day you're going to have several victories. But it starts with the victory at the exercise. And for most Americans, there's no exercise. Like, you go weeks without exercising. And when you don't have the small victory, like there's no victory here, there's no victory there, and people are so passionate about CrossFit because you always win. You come here and you win every day, and it starts to work, and then you get excited about it and you talk about it all the time, and people get on people's nerves because you're like, quit talking about CrossFit. It's a cult. And I was like, well, no, it's not. But he's like, yeah, y'all drink the same coffee, y'all wear the same clothes. So yeah, it has everything that a cult have, but it's not a cult. But it is, yeah, I guess it is a cult, but
not really. Well, not really. Somebody asked me one time, have you drank the Kool-Aid? I'm like, that has too much sugar. I don't drink that crap. But all in all, CrossFit, it's so funny. I used to drive by here way before my journey started. So we moved to Athens, 4 years in September. It'll be 4 years from Kaufman. And so, I would drive by here. The coffee sign is the first thing I noticed, because I am a lover of coffee. I'll drink it black. I mean, I'll drink it anyway, but I do love coffee. I love good coffee. Yep. And so, and then I have always just kind of thought about CrossFit. I don't know why, but I'll get to some of my story about now why I think about it. But I mean, I drove by here thinking, I'm going to go there one day. And so, I always say, I've told you that, perhaps I'd have came here first. My story might have been totally different. I lost 100 pounds by nutrition only at first, because that's where I was at the time. I was, I was desperate I needed a coach, and I needed some emotional help. Now, flip side, I tell everybody, I'm like, you're a coach of fitness. I'm a coach of, nutrition and health, emotional behaviors, things like that. And I say, my people have the hardest time in your industry. Your people have the hardest time in my industry.
Yeah.
And so I tell everybody, like, just move. If you if you always park at the front of the grocery store, park at the back or park the furthest, or just trying to get them a little win every time so that something like this doesn't sound as overwhelming to them at that time. But I will tell you, it sounds like like I've drank the Kool-Aid, but like everybody that I talk to wants to come to the gym with me. They're like wanting to drive and move here.
Yeah.
They want to come to the
come
gym
on.
with me. But because I love it. But
Yeah.
but it is mentally, I had no idea what working out would do for me. I have worked out in the past, but still in a real bad state. So it really wasn't. It probably was really keeping me afloat, and I didn't even know it. But this is different. The challenges are different. The coaching is game for me. Just like Friday when I walked in here, and I thought to myself, because I really did not know I was as competitive as I am. I had no idea. But whenever I walked in here Friday, I thought, well, I'll just do CrossFit Games. I'll do the scaled version. I could probably do it. But your coaching said, no, you're not, because then that would be going back when you need to go forward. So it gave me goals for this year because of the coaching. And I did not get as far as I wanted to Friday, but I have worked on pull-ups every day since then, because like that won't be my story next year.
Absolutely.
Period. It's not going to be my story.
You have to try first.
Yeah.
You know, and so as an owner of CrossFit for almost 10 years this year, I would love no more when someone that's obese or that needs has a medical necessity to work out and lose weight. That's my favorite client. So I would love for those people, and every CrossFit gym owner across the world wants those people to come knock on the door, because those people have the most to gain. Like, they're going to lose a ton of weight. They're going to change their life. They're going to be your biggest advocate. Those are the members that I pray to get. I love those members, or I wish for those members more than like a really fit person coming and trying to be just a little more fit than they are now, because they don't have as much to lose.
Right.
And so, you know, a lot of people are, I can never do that, you know, and I know it's so damn hard to come in here because, you know, you do see people with their shirts off and doing muscle ups and running 100 miles and all these things. But I pray that those people find us and find just any other CrossFit. And it doesn't have to be CrossFit, and I'm biased, but there's nothing better than CrossFit, in my opinion.
I agree.
So that's what we need. And we need more members, frankly. Right. Like, all gyms are hurting right now.
Right.
And most CrossFit gyms around me have closed. I was the original one in Van Zandt County. There's several popped up, and most of them have closed now. And the other one in Athens closed down the other day. And so we want you to come. We want you to come. We want your friends to come and come together or whatever. But just show up, and I promise you'll feel better. You're going to be sore, but that's just life. That's growth.
Right.
And it's like an antidepressant every day when you work out. And then it's that one step forward. It's that 1% better. You're taking one step towards your goals when you work out. If you miss that day, you're taking a step back.
Right.
And what are your goals now? Well, everybody's approaching 40 or, however old you are. If you're not a college athlete or high school athlete, your goals are like, well, let me live my life where I can stay able to do everything that I want to do. Anything that I can dream about doing, I want to be able to do those things from now on, and I don't want to have to sit at home because I'm unable to do them because I'm too big or I'm too old or I'm, grandmothers shouldn't be able to go water skiing or snow skiing. I'll just let the young people do that. Well, that's no fun.
Right. All of our grandmas here go snow skiing and water skiing. It's
better
the
than I
best.
can.
I know.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
But yeah, it's like getting fit for life, and that's what we do. And we're not. There's no mirrors here. We're not vanity based where we're flexing or wearing bikinis. Even though what we do will translate into looking better in a bikini or whatever, but that's not the goal here, which is a superficial goal. Our goal here is not. Our goal is a legitimate one. And
well, I think that one of the best things, of course, all of CrossFit, I love the community part of it. It really does. It warms my heart to see people get better. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if you can do better, just do better. And I love to see that. I love to see that no matter what, if you're the guy with the shirt off, we don't have any girls that take their shirt off here, so I'm just saying, if you're the guy with the shirt off,
not yet.
Yeah. If you're the guy with the shirt off or you're not, it doesn't matter. Everybody's treated equal. Everybody is encouraged. Everybody leaves here winning every single time.
Yeah.
And I love that community part of it. To me, it's a very safe place when you have a community like that that's healthy. And, I think I've told you before how much I appreciate, if I walk into a class full of men, like you guys, you honor the Lord, you honor your families, your best interest is safety, all of those things. It's such a safe place. And I can't speak for other gyms because I've never been, but the one I go to, the one I was called to is wholesome. We care about people. We care about people outside of this gym. I love that.
Yeah.
The Special Olympics community or, the special needs community. I love that. I mean, there's just so many things that, I believe everybody finds their place. And so, with that being said, like all that, I didn't even know that about here, but that was a lot of that's my heartbeat. And so, now I know. I'm like, this gym was missing out because I wasn't here. And that's not to be puffed up or cocky, but like there is a place for me here because it's everything that I love.
Yeah.
And, I encourage people to come all the time. I'm like, I know what you think what you think it is not, maybe that's not for you today. If it calls for a mile run and you can walk a half a mile, come.
Right.
It's okay.
We'd much rather you come and walk 20 steps than not show up at all.
Yeah. I've been here 18 months and I've still walked at least 20 steps.
Yeah.
But that's another affirmation.
Yeah.
I'm like, today you're going to be really, really good at a 400-meter run. Okay. So go on and run the 400 meters. And then whenever I get to the 400 meters, I'm like, you're going to be really good running back 400 meters. Or just act like somebody's chasing you. I did see a fox over here one day back behind the gym. He distracted me a little bit. I thought, oh, he's really cute. Surely he's not going to come over here and snarl at me or anything. I heard they only do that if they're rabid.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask. I didn't ask. So I will tell you that one of the reasons why I truly believe that I was called here is I was a gymnast when I was a little girl. I had no idea CrossFit had a gymnastics background. And so part of my emotional issues is I have a sexual abuse background. And so when I got here, I probably was here, I don't know, probably maybe a month, maybe a month and a half. And on the board was handstand, walks, handstand walks. And so that's something that I had forgotten about when I was a little kid, was I used to win all these contests at the gym. I would walk across the gym and turn around on my hands and walk back. I even swallowed 2 quarters one time because we had a concession stand and I was going to get a pickle. I swallowed my money. So anyway.
How'd you swallow your quarters?
I had them in my mouth, which somebody told me not to put them in my mouth, and I did anyway, and I did handstands, and anyway, I didn't die, clearly. They might still be there. I don't know. I don't know. But, I did, when I saw that, I even did a live over it because it touched me that much. I could not do, I probably could do it now. I might could do 1 or 2 walks on my hands.
Yeah.
But that's another thing.
You'll be able to do them soon.
Yeah, heck yeah.
We'll practice them, and they're going to be in workouts, which when it's in a workout, it's practice. It's training. Right? When the CrossFit Open, the games come around every year, that's the competition, right?
Right.
Or if you do some competition that we hold, that's where you're going to be competitive and try to win, right? But these daily things are just training sessions. So you got to practice and train, and you'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
Very confident you'll be able to do it.
I'm excited about that handstand, but when I left here that day, I thought, the Lord is so good. Like, He is restoring to me some of the things that were stolen from me as a child. And, I probably won't stick quarters in my mouth and walk across the floor, but I think to myself, like, this is something that I can do, and I will get that back. But anyway, so with that being said, those are the sort of things whenever I come in here and I'm like, oh man, you're so good. The Lord is so good to me. Like, I adore it. I won first in state. I don't know if it was 1 year or 2 years. I had to text my mother and ask her, is it really true that I won that? I forgot. First in state floor gymnast. She's like, no, it's really true. You should have a medal somewhere. I'm like, oh God, I've moved like 980 times.
What's a floor gymnast? The one that does the dances?
Tumbling.
Okay. Okay.
Just tumbling.
So let's switch gears for a moment.
Okay.
If I had 100 pounds to lose, or over 100 pounds to lose, and I came to you, or I needed help, where do we start? Well,
first of all, what we would do is just kind of sit down and figure out, like, where you've been and where you want to go. Is it, just like I said, is it for a family picture? Is it for your health? Why do you want to lose 100 pounds? Try to get down to some of those things. Then we start talking about your habits. A lot of times.
Why do people have 100 pounds to lose, though? When we talk about why and what do we want to, you had an sexual abuse when you were a kid. Did that have everything to do with your weight gain, or did it have some of it?
I would say that some of the things that I did not deal with was I binged off of that, but I also overspent, overdrank. I mean, all the things. So I was just not good emotionally and mentally, and so I behaved based off of that. Was a root issue. That was a root issue, and so no, it's not the whole reason why. It was not the whole reason why I was overweight. I made bad choices. I always say there was things that happened to me in my life that I had no choice over. But then there was a lot of things that I had 100% choices over. We worked a lot, and so we ate out a lot, which you can eat good eating out. It's not always the best choice, but you can make better choices. We could have made better choices, but we did not. And sugar, my gosh, we were so addicted to sugar. Now that I look back, it was just constantly. And one of the things I didn't do is I wouldn't eat all day and then consume 5,000 calories between the time I got off work till I went to bed.
Which you think, on the surface, if you don't eat all day, you're losing weight, right? You're not consuming any calories, and you think you're doing well.
Right.
And then you blow it in one sitting that probably expands your stomach and makes whenever you do get hungry again, it makes this emptiness feeling that you just constantly try to fill.
Sure.
So it's not good to skip meals.
No, it's not good to skip meals. And just bad habits, drinking sweet tea or, just things like that. Drinking
sweet tea. I mean, it's like a Southern Texas thing. Everybody thinks it's funny, but it's bullshit.
It is.
It's not. It's not helping you.
No.
It's giving you diabetes and it's making you fat. And yeah, it tastes great. It's candy. But look, we're 40 now. Stop eating candy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop. Like, let's just stop with the candy. That's for kids. And it's
Right.
not really, shouldn't be for kids. But
No.
this is, why I came up with Van Zant coffee and started roasting coffee beans, because I was tired of drinking coffee black that tasted bad. I wanted a coffee that you could drink black that tasted good, because black coffee has 0 calories and 0 sugar, and it's healthy for you.
And I love it.
And when you go to Starbucks or coffee shops, nothing against Starbucks or coffee shops, or we supply a lot of coffee shops that I love. But most Americans drink dessert for breakfast. They drink a coffee with sugar, or even if it says it's sugar free, it's sweet, so your brain thinks it's sugar. So don't fall for like, oh, it's 0 sugar. Anything that's sweet, any fake sugar out there is still sugar in your brain. So your pancreas produces insulin, and then your cells get numb to the insulin receptors. So all that sugar, or all that fake sugar, glucose goes and starts and forms new fat cells and makes you fat. The meat that you're eating, the vegetables, that's not making you fat. It's the sugar. So when we talk about sweet tea, and we talk about your morning ritual of your mocha frappe latte with extra cream and just a tablespoon of coffee, that's one of the biggest mistakes you can make, is consuming sugar in drinks, beverages.
Mm-hmm.
Coke, Pepsi, Diet Coke, Mountain Dew, coffee that's got a bunch of cream and sugar, and sweet tea. And when you talk about your clients, my client, first thing I say, stop drinking sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Stop drinking sugar.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing we talk about. So anyway, let's go back.
Well, so what I usually do is I try to find, as far as 100-pound loser, I find out also too if they're a yo-yo dieter, if they've bounced back and forth, back, because to me,
they're bound to have done that.
Yes,
right?
yes. Yeah. To me, when you are a yo-yo dieter, that is a clear indication of an emotional behavior.
Yeah.
Because at one time, whatever you did, you had some control.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very simple math: calories in, calories out. That's it. It's very simple. And even though I'm not really on a counting calorie thing, I'm just saying that is a very simple thing. But you had control at one time to get a loss, and then you gained it back. And I try to ask questions like, did something happen? Did you have an injury of some sort where you went from just this high octane to setting still? Whatever. There's a lot of factors into it, but I would say that 90% of my clients, or the people that I deal with, I encourage, whatever I come in contact with, it's been an emotional behavior. We live in such a broken, wounded world.
Yeah.
And people just don't respond off of it healthy. And they adapt these habits, and then they, just like I said, what you don't deal with, you can't recover from. Because you don't, so that's kind of the things that I go through at first. Like, what are our habits? What have you tried? What have you tried in the past? How much have
So a lot of us deal with pain with sugar, because it makes our brain feel good, and alcohol, which makes our brain feel good. It makes us numb.
Right.
So like, soldiers with PTSD, let them turn to alcohol or prescription pills. But a lot of Americans turn to the comfort of eating, and the feeling of being satisfied, and the feeling that their brain starts to dance when they eat a banana or something with a lot of sugar in it, a Coke. It's the same feeling that heroin gives you, or any type of drug. So trying to fill a void of something from your past, or something that you went through, is, I think, a big deal of why you've gotten big. And then it's just never dealing with it, and then years of growth.
Yes.
Negative growth,
Yeah.
right? Like negative bad habits compound on top.
Right. Well, and I've heard always there's 5 pain points. I think one of them is, well, overeating, over drinking, of course, drugs of any sort, overspending, and busyness. And so I can look back in 2013, 12 or 13, I lost quite a bit of weight. I went to a weight loss center in Dallas, and I mean, they had a lot of pills and supplements, which was not good because I just wasn't, I wasn't consistent at anything. So that really wasn't working either, you know? And so, you know, I can tell, I can look back on that time. I can see where those pain points all showed up because I wasn't dealing with root issues in my life. So when I wasn't eating, I was busy. When I wasn't busy, I was drinking. I never really did drugs, or never did drugs, not really. But but whenever, you know, I can see where when I wasn't busy, I was shopping. I can see where those pain points, you know, and I'm not talking about shopping. I'm talking about ridiculous. I mean, when I started cleaning up my closet, I lost 50 pounds before I'd buy anything. It was really weird. This time it was so different because I was like, I used to would lose 10 pounds. I go buy 20 new pair of pants. But I was like, I'm doing it. I'm changing my life. I'm determined. And I had jeans. I probably had 15 pair of jeans that were the same thing, same size. I had no idea. I was like, this is an issue. I don't think we'll deal with that.
Yeah.
Think we'll go back and deal with this. I mean, cause like I kept a running list, you know, about what a whiteboard where I was like, yeah, I probably should deal with that, and cross it off. Yeah, I probably should deal with that, cross it off. And Justin and I were going through this at the same time. Listen, he is a saint. I'm not kidding. He dealt with me. Yeah, I have ran all over him and put it in reverse at first when we got married. And then we went on this health, you know, this mission to get healthy, and just there was no turning back. And we didn't kill each other, so I'm thinking we've arrived. Like we're gonna stay together for the rest of our entire life.
How did you get him on board with it? Because a lot of couples, one person gets healthy and the other one kind of resents them and just refuses to get on board. So
I hate to say the bandwagon, but really, the bandwagon. Well, it wasn't his idea at first. I kind of had already started changing my habits, and then he got, you know, he's a team roper, and he was big, and you know, I mean, I'm not being ugly when I say he was just really. I mean, I cannot believe he roped even then. I mean, he was big, and so he's just thrown off a horse, bucked off a horse. I don't know the real terms to make it look better or sound worse, but anyway, he got thrown off of a horse and landed face first in the dirt. And he said, I probably would have still got thrown off the horse if I was lighter, but I would have had the agility to handle him. But he said I didn't have anything, you know, nothing to fight back. So he was hurt, and he just decided, I think I should reevaluate this, you know. So anyway, shortly after that, he kind of, you know, he started eating what I was eating, and, you know, lean and greens, and just, you know, paying attention to even something like water intake, you know, never drinking water, but just, I mean, running to other things, all the other things we just talked about, you know. So, and man, he lost a massive amount fast, and it's because his habits were so bad, you know. They were so bad. So we both had pretty bad habits, but.
So first thing is like, why? How'd you get this way? What are you doing? And then second, what kind of habits, daily habits? To
get better, or that we were addressing.
Well, how to figure out what kind of habits you're doing. Like
so a lot of
pitfalls,
times,
you know.
A lot of times, you know, people, we add so much to our food, you know. So I call them condiments. Basically, I'm like, they are what they are. There's a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, and things that, just really don't benefit you. A massive amount of salt. I mean, people use a massive amount of salt. Salt is not bad, but too much is really bad, you know.
Too much of anything is bad, but yeah.
They don't drink water at all. They'll buy drop-ins to put in their water, and and things like that. And I'm like, just drink water. Just drink water. It doesn't have to be colored or anything like that. Just drink the water.
I have people sometimes come to me, like, especially usually it's newer people, and I'm like, make sure you're hydrated with water, and they'll say, got it. Got Pedialyte or Gatorade. I'm like, I'm sure there's benefits to that. If you're laying in hospital bed and you want to drink some of that Pedialyte, get those electrolytes. Look, you don't need that. Just drink water.
Just drink water.
And eat food, and you're good.
And you're good.
And extreme negatives of drinking too much water, hypernatremia. Every year there's going to be a kid, unfortunately, in Texas on a football field that dies from hypernatremia because people are saying, drink water, pounding water, and they're not eating.
Right.
All these kids, you can't monitor what they're eating at home. They're probably eating a bag of Cheetos. Or they're poor and they don't have food or whatever, and they're pounding water at football practice, sweating. It's hot. All the sodium leaves your body, and your body goes into full cramp and convulsions, and you can die. Every year a kid or two dies, and every year a soldier dies from it. So that's extreme. It's called being waterlogged. Drinking water when you're not thirsty. But if you're thirsty, your body needs it. Right. Drink water.
Drink water.
Until you're not thirsty anymore, and don't drink it.
And I tell everybody too, if you'll just gain a habit of drinking those. I mean, I prefer more than 64 ounces a day, but I'm also busy and talking all the time, so I need more water because I'm thirsty. But eventually your body will get hydrated, and you'll acclimate to that, and you'll see a massive difference in your skin, in your weight, in your skin. That puffiness. I mean, like it's the longest probably drink around. Like, this is the oldest drink here.
That's the drink. Yeah.
Like, let's stick to the basics here.
So water and black coffee.
That's right. Water and black coffee. It's really all you need. So I do ask people to, like, kind of touching back on it. How many times do you eat a day? Like, are you only eating once a day? Are you, and then are you binging when you eat? Or, so that's kind of the things that we go over. But I have found, even with my own self, that the weight, whatever you do to lose weight, like it's the encouragement and the somebody believing in you, somebody behind you, teaching you. Every day you're going to get up, and these are the things that you need to do today. And then I also need to know what you're grateful for. I need to know one thing you're grateful for. I want to know one thing you're going to intend to do today. What are you speaking of yourself today? Those are the things that kept me engaged, because you know why? Because it changed my heart and it changed my head. And all the other stuff just followed behind it, So that is mainly what I do. I hate to even say I'm a cheerleader, because some days I'm not a cheerleader. I'm like, come on, So
that's the coach coming out in you.
Yeah, somebody.
Like there's a cheerleader, and then there's a coach.
Yeah.
And the coach tells you stuff you don't want to hear,
but
you need to hear. Tough love, right?
And it's hard.
It's hard to do it.
It's hard, especially when people struggle. So they struggle so hard in their life. I always tell them, okay, so we're moving on from here. Oh, that was a bad choice. Own it and let's roll on. Don't excuse the bad choice, and don't not eat for 6 days because you made one bad choice. Okay, let's just roll on. Like at 5 o'clock, what are you going to do at 5 o'clock? So yeah, the coach part of it is not as fun. Cheerleading is fun, but I always say I can't take, and I'm sure you feel the same. I can't take the credit for the success of them, because it's ultimately their choices and they're changing.
Yeah.
Which is the point. Just like I can't take I can't take it for, the guilt for the failure either. And I hate to say failure just because a lot of people are just not there. Like you have to be there. Whether you come into a revelation from your health report, or you see a picture, or you can't walk across the floor, whatever, like there's got to be, to me, there's got to be some point that's a revelation where you just say, no more, I'm done, and you change.
As a coach, it's hard being a coach. It's hard being I'm sure it's hard being a high school football coach. It's hard being any type of coach, but the coach in our business, I've got a list of people, everybody that's quit CrossFit Van Zant, and it's tremendous. I mean, there's 600-700 people on there, at least. And I've got like 200 members now. So I've got more people that have quit over the years than are still here. Mm-hmm. And that's so hard for me to take it, But I make 100 mistakes a day. Honestly, I do. But I keep trying, and generally I'm successful. I see that, and on the surface, it makes me sad. Every time somebody quits my gym, I take it personal. I try not to. And I'm getting better at it every day. I'm getting better. But I have people with a lot of success. A lot of those people give some credit to me or our coaching staff in our gym, which is very kind, and like we love to get that credit because it helps us. But I've also had people who have a lot of success and give us no credit. Actually say it was something else that they were doing, which I know because they don't, because when they came here, they could barely walk. Now right. They're doing pull-ups. So we're doing something right here, and that's also okay, but it's not as flattering as somebody saying, well, thank you for your part,
Yeah.
Give an ounce of credit. And I think that's just the type of person you're dealing is this person, are they nice? Are they thoughtful? Are they, I always try to give people credit if they've helped me, and I hope I do. And we had that conversation about Paula Lemon earlier. We have the most thoughtful person I've ever met in my life, Paula Lemon. She works out at 5:15 in Athens every morning, and she gave me a letter, and this is one of 50 letters she's given me of thanks and telling me her story and just keeping me updated. And I've never met someone so thoughtful. I thought I was thoughtful before I met her, and now I realize I'm not thoughtful at all. I've got like 1% thoughtfulness. She's got 100. But it's tough as a coach because it is emotional. The success and failures, you just see them in front of your face all the time.
Right.
And I love what you just said. You said you can't take credit for the success, so you can't also take credit or take it personal for the failures.
Right.
And
well, you can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves. Because no community, no workout, nothing is going to hold them to them. I love the shirt that we have. It says me versus me.
Yeah.
I say that a lot in affirmations. I'm like, you are your only competition. Your mind is your only competition today. And you have control over that.
Yeah.
So I think, if they don't want it for themselves, I realize life happens, different seasons, people come on different seasons and things like that. And Mama's like, where's your home at? You gonna come back or what? So.
Yeah. And it's normal. Yeah. Different seasons.
Yeah. I think, but in my, in my job, in my own life, I can speak from the successes in my own life or in my husband's life. The weight was really nothing. It was everything, but it was nothing, and once we started working on that emotional stuff. So Justin used to stand in the pulpit all the time. And that's one thing after we got healthy, we were like, we were working on all the things. We were like, we were not really operating our best, ministering to people. And it wasn't because we were overweight. It was because we were overweight because we weren't dealing with root issues. Mm-hmm. And, when you mow a weed, they come back. If you go out there and pull it up, it might not come back. But if it does, if you put some weed killer on, you have to kill the root, or it will show back up. And so we spend a lot of time and a lot of money on personal development, because I believe that's what keeps us in the game. Just continuing to evaluate our own life before we try to tell somebody else how to live theirs.
Yeah.
And we've always been encouragers by nature. I'm going to say we've been very successful in business. We've been very successful in marriage, even when the strikes were against us. We had a great child. Never gave us any issues at all. But that was the one thing we could not get a handle on. And so anyway, we strive to not go back there. I was just talking to my friend the other day, and she's struggled with the same thing, and now has gotten her health, and she's running and going to the gym every day. She's loving her. She is really living her best life. And she said I have a real fear of being fat again. And then so she sends me back affirmations every day. I will live a healthy life all my days. Period. I will make choices every day based off of a healthy lifestyle. So she's just taking that word completely out of her vocabulary and just trying to acknowledge the fear and get it away. So, I think that's probably a lot of people struggle.
When someone says they're fat and happy, what do you think about that?
Well, I've been a smart ass before and just said, "What's your secret?"
Yeah.
I've talked to thousands of people, and that is not the case.
That's a lie, right? That's a lie you're telling yourself.
It is a lie.
And it's not superficial. That losing weight and running, going for a run, going to the gym, it can be superficial in how you do it, but a lot of people I talk, I'm too busy. I've got kids. I'm trying to make a living. I have a job. My property tax is going up. My kids have this weird ass homework now that I can't figure out how to do, and I'm staying up late helping them with that. My kids are playing 60 different sports. I'm taking them here and there. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have enough money to do those things. CrossFit is $140 a month. I can't afford it. I can't afford to eat grass-fed beef. I have to eat McDonald's, or I have to buy the ground beef at Walmart in the big tube that has God knows what in it, or a hamburger helper. That's the things I hear all the time, and I get it. But there's other issues than that, and I think there's more benefits than looking better naked. Looking better naked is an awesome benefit to exercise, but that is so small of the percentage of what you gain from being healthy that you don't even care about it anymore.
Right.
You talked about earlier about people having their shirts off. All right, full disclosure, we don't have our shirts off up here a lot, okay?
No.
Every once in a while when it's really hot, I'll take mine off if I'm comfortable with the people in class. If it's somebody new in class or somebody's going to take it the wrong way, we don't take them off. We do have women sometimes that take off and have a sports bra on, and that's considered a shirt off for a lady, by the way.
I've never seen that.
Well, sometimes some women do it. One of my greatest victories, I've had people lose 100 pounds. That's one of my greatest victories. I've had multiple members stop having to take blood pressure medicine and other types of daily medicine, which saves them money. And, the fact that they have to remember to take a pill every day, that is also huge. The third thing is, sorry, the FedEx guy just came in and yelled my name in the office. Kevin's like,
no, sir. No, sir, I'm not.
Yes.
No.
See. The third thing, though, is I have people come in that are ashamed of their bodies, and they have zero confidence.
Mm-hmm.
They have zero confidence in their self. They have zero self-confidence, and they have zero confidence talking about themselves or whatever. So there's been a big win for me when someone goes from wearing only basically a full burqa, full sleeves, pants, covering their neck, covering everything basically, to working out with a short sleeve shirt on, showing their arms.
Mm-hmm.
That's confidence building. And then you have some people that join that are in abusive relationships. They're in a marriage that they hate. Their husband's abusive to them, or their wife is treating them like shit. And they get some confidence here, and
right.
They start to build, and they might end that relationship, which is not the norm. But I want people to be happy. And when you start to exercise and you feel good about yourself, man, you start to perform in other ways, and it's life-changing.
I agree. I do think you show up completely different. You show up, I get to speak a lot just because I have a team, but I can tell in myself, in my presentations, and how I'm confident. I mean, it's evident when people start doing things for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Working out, just like you said, mentally, it just clears me so much where I can actually kind of I don't even like to talk before I get here. You would think when I walk in the door, it's rainbows and unicorns. I've already had 10 conversations, but I have not had one.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Justin likes to ask questions early in the morning, and I'm like, I'll be back in 1 hour. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'll text you on the way home.
Yeah.
Not texting driving, just I'll voice text.
Right.
But I do think you show up so much different. And I also think too, when you gain that kind of confidence, just like talking about having a bad marriage, like a lot, sometimes, not every time, sometimes though, that confidence helps restore and repair some of that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I can tell you now, our marriage is so different, because the reason I lost weight was for my health. The reason why I stay healthy is for Alisha.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worth it. Justin's worth it. And so when we have that, when we believe in ourselves and we come together, it's like powerhouses. You have enough confidence to withhold. And some days I'm not 100%, but he is. And then some days he's not, but I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just, if neither one of you are good, it's really hard. If you're abusive to a spouse, you're not good either, whether you're working out or not.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, when you come together, just with that confidence, I feel like it's purposeful. Like you can conquer a whole lot of stuff.
You get a lot done.
Yes. I was going to say too, I was going to touch a little bit about your wife, talking about coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Your wife is probably, everybody here is phenomenal coaches. Everybody here has a different style of coaching. She probably has been one of the most authoritative coaches in my life without saying a word. Mm-hmm. And so, in July when I decided I was all or nothing, I was in, I told nobody that was my decision because, I was not real good about confronting things. So for me to say out loud that I was cherry picking and not coming on those days, y'all knew, but I didn't say it. So I wasn't taking ownership. But when I decided I'm taking ownership, like this is it. I'm really gonna. This is the lifestyle I'm really gonna live. And I struggled really hard because things come up. You know, it's like I made that declaration, and something would come up, and I was like, no, I'm sticking to it. I almost had the same kind of revelation in the shift that I did whenever I decided I'm getting healthy, period. I don't want to die. And so about 2 weeks into that declaration, I mean, I was struggling. Because I was doing things that I wasn't comfortable with and I wasn't good at. And I don't remember what we were doing, but I know it was 5 rounds of something. It was not an easy situation or easy workout. And about round 3, I thought, I don't know if I can do this. And so I just looked at her. I said, why is it so hard today? And she just stood there. I know you can see her saying this. She's like, you've done so many hard things in your life. And she said, this is not hard for you. You've already done round 3. I mean, and I stood there and she said, you don't like to be uncomfortable. That's what's wrong with you. You can do it. You don't. Now, if you're done, you can be done. Well, I mean, here's where that competitive comes out in me. I'm like, oh, hell no. I will die on round 5, but I'm doing it. You know, I'd already made a declaration. So I cried all the way home. Yeah. And I thought to myself, she's right. She's so right. But honestly, she really addressed a pattern in my life that I really had no idea. When I started analyzing, I thought everything has come pretty easy for me for the most part until it got hard and I had to really work. And then I quit every time. I was like, by God, I am not quitting this time. And so she her coaching just really set me free from patterns I'd had my whole life. I had no idea. On my way home, I was like, yeah, this is about right. This is about what I do. This is about when I quit. I didn't tell anybody the declaration, for one, which I think that's not good. I think you ought to tell somebody. I think you ought to be accountable.
Yeah.
And then the second part of that was, you know, I was uncomfortable. It did not feel good. I did not cherry pick that workout that day, and I would have. So her coaching has been very powerful, the quietest and the most powerful in my life.
She's the best.
She is the best.
She coaches me up at the house like that. I mean, I'll be down on something and she'll say something like that, and I obviously love her tremendously. She is the best. She's the best coach. No doubt.
She is. Well, the Lord really used her that day because those were things that were holding me up, even in the success. You know,
yeah.
If this is what I'm good at, I'm not talking about CrossFit. I'm talking about encouraging people and living this attraction. I'm talking about attractional lifestyle, not by looks, but just like I want people to say, "What did you do? I want what you have." All of it is the joy of the Lord. Like that, that's where it starts. But the other part is you better be freaking coachable.
Yeah.
I mean, above all, be coachable, be accountable. That's it. Coachable and accountable. And with those two things, I really believe that you can heal from a whole lot of stuff. Being open and being able to address things. And you need to take them step by step. There's no way I could have dealt with all that stuff at one time. So, you know, I dealt with some things, and then I came here because this was the second part of my journey, and I was just supposed to be here, and then I started dealing with other things, and so, and there's going to be other things that come up. Well, like this last week, I mean, the second week of the games, I felt like I freaking killed it. I mean, you couldn't have pushed me down. I mean, I was on the top all week long because I finished it, you know, and that was something, that was such an accomplishment for me. Then I saw that third workout and I was like,
oh crap. Yeah.
already know. But immediately, see, in my mind, I was already like backtracking and thinking, I'll just do this workout because I can probably do this. But it wasn't about finishing. It was about doing what I could do. For me, it was about doing what I could do. And then also, it gave me goals and like I have something to work towards for the next time. The old Alisha would have said, I'm out. I'm not going to do that last workout because I already know I can't make it past 1 or 2. But I really got farther than I thought I was going to get, so there you go.
Yeah.
But those are some of the patterns that or some of the things that I've dealt with even since coming here, you know, in my life. And so I'll keep working on them. I just took a test. I'm starting a new, it's called a mastermind class tonight. I just took a test. It told me where I was really good and where I really wasn't. And Justin took it also, and he said, man, they pegged you, but they had me 100% wrong. And then when I read his, I was like, man, they pegged you, didn't they? And he's like, oh. So
that's funny.
Just working to get better.
Yeah.
And
so I've been, you know, I was an athlete in high school and in college at West Point. Everybody was an athlete, and then I was in the Army, and then I started the gym, and I was a firefighter. So I've never had an issue with weight. I will say that I used to hate running tremendously, and I've talked about this on a podcast previous, but the first time I ran 2 miles was at West Point. I ran a mile before that, and I remember I used to run around the track at the Canton High School, and I'd want to vomit, and it was terrible. You know, you feel like you either going to poop your pants or vomit, right? So most people hate
both
running.
bad.
Most people hate running because you feel sick when you do it, and your shin splints or whatever pain you have. But there comes a time when your cardiorespiratory endurance gets to a certain point to where when you go for a run, A, you don't want to vomit, and B, you don't want to poop your pants, and C, your legs don't hurt tremendously, but you can run a little ways. Well, then you start to develop this side cramp, the side stitch, right? We call it the mayonnaise cramp. That happens to people. That's debilitating to people. They're like, damn, why does my side hurt? Well, then you get into a certain amount of shape, and that goes away. So now running becomes a thing where you can go for a run, and you can clear your head and think just like you would when you mow the grass or you take a shower or you drive your car. You can listen to something, and you can retain it. You can think clearly about goals or, through hard decisions, and running becomes one of the most enjoyable things ever. When I got to West Point, we had just the Army physical fitness test. It's 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. I failed the first one. I failed the time, and I was like, how the hell did I fail this thing? Because I gave up. It hurt, and I was like, oh, this is so far. Well, then we trained, and I passed it with flying colors every year for the next 10 years after that, and got to where my sophomore year, I was so beat down because West Point's like prison. They don't let you leave. It's a job, and when you're first there, they treat you like complete crap, and it's hard. And they said, we need some people to go run the Marine Corps marathon in Washington, D.C. And if you go run it, we'll give you a free weekend away in Washington, D.C. So I was like, sign me up. Get me out of here.
Heck yeah.
So I went and ran a marathon with no training. Of course, we'd run in the Army a couple miles here, a couple miles there. And I finished it with my best friend, Patrick O'Connor from Philadelphia, still my best friend. We ran it together, 5 hours and 25 minutes. During the race, we got a chili dog. We stopped at the Miller Lite tent and got a couple beers. Ran by the White House, all the stuff that I've never, of course I've been to D.C., but, it's just different. We ran a marathon, 26.2 miles, and enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah. And then we got a free weekend. We got to go hang out with his high school buddies at, different universities, and acted like a real college kid for once. And that right there, I just developed a love for it. And, I've ran a few, multiple marathons since then. Every year Canton has a half marathon. I run it no matter what, just because I love in my hometown event. I don't care about my time. I don't care about coming in first place or in my age division. I could care less. My deal with running is starting it, enjoying the run, and finishing, no matter what. And it's something that started out that was so daunting to me is running, and I hated it because it made me feel like crap, is now one of my favorite pastimes. And it's just like exercise. Exercise and CrossFit. My first CrossFit workout, I was in the Army. I was in shape. I was Ranger qualified. I did 21-15-9 deadlifts and hand release push-ups. And I think I used 225. And I tried to beat my buddy Luke Bondi, who was doing it. It was at Fort Hood. Afterwards, I went outside and I threw up everywhere. And then my back was so sore that I had to take about 2 weeks and I had to go see a chiropractor. Like, I thought I was injured, and it was just CrossFit. It was because it like punches you in the face, because your body, I don't care what you've been doing. I don't care if you're playing in the NFL and you come to CrossFit Van Zandt. The first few workouts are going to kick your ass. Mm-hmm. You just have to get through them. Just survive.
Yeah.
And keep coming back. And then, because then you get in this incredible shape and you start doing these things. But everything, I don't care if it's Zumba or, Billy Blank's Taibo. Everything at the beginning sucks and it's hard. But you'll get through it, and
you'll see more benefits than you'll see the negative.
Right.
Oh, and if you stick with it. Justin ran a half marathon.
Yeah,
Canton.
Yeah, he did.
And he did well. He loves to run. I'm loving to run.
Right. I'm
loving to run 400 meters at a time.
Yeah, and you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
You're gonna get there. Let's talk about quitting stuff for a second.
Okay.
Quitting. Everybody quits something, and you feel bad about it, right? When you quit, you feel bad about yourself. It's just common knowledge. I wanted to quit West Point. I remember I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, I'm coming home. I'm going to quit. It's just too hard. I'm going to fail anyway. And he said, hey, son, that's fine. That's fine with us. Don't, are you sure, and it's whatever. And then that night I went to my TAC officer, and I got the, sir, can I have the separation paperwork, please? He sent me a stack of paperwork, 4 inches high. And he said, you got to fill all this out, bring it back tomorrow. And I went back to my room, and my homework that evening was still a stack of paperwork, but it wasn't that high. So I just decided to do my homework again and not fill out that. And because I had 4 F's and 2 D's. I come from Canton, Texas. Went up there. I was like Forrest Gump up there. All my roommates they're literally geniuses, like 1,600 on their SAT, went to some private academy. I mean, just the smartest people I've ever met. And I'm literally have to get tutored every single day just to pass. So anyway, at some point I decided it was too much work to quit, so I just stay there. And I'm glad I didn't quit. I'm so glad I didn't quit, because who knows where I'd be. And then I remember sometimes in the Army, like training up for Ranger School, we'd be on these 5-mile runs. And if you've ever, running for time is something I hate, something I have to keep a certain pace. It's brutal. I remember hoping I would step in a hole and break my leg. I'm serious. It's crazy, but I was praying I was going to step in a hole on this run and break my leg, so I wouldn't have to keep going. I'd have an excuse to quit, and I wouldn't feel bad about it. But he just kept going. I'll say, I'll quit this tomorrow. I'll just quit this tomorrow. And if you keep saying you'll quit tomorrow, basically what you're doing is taking it one day at a time. And then you wake up one day and you're done. And it's being uncomfortable.
It's being uncomfortable.
Finding comfort in being uncomfortable is what separates somebody that's sick to being normal, being well, right? And what separates the people that are normal from being like fit or ultra fit. It's your ability to take the uncomfortable like to a different level and put continual progress. Something that having a coach will get you, because everybody has a solo flex or a bow flex at the house, right? Everybody's got a treadmill. Everybody has P90X on DVD. Everybody has a membership to Anytime Fitness, right? But you're rarely going to go past your comfort zone. But when you have a coach, like at CrossFit or with Dash Health and Wellness, when you have a coach, they're going to propel you and push you and find out and help you get to the next level where that uncomfortable feeling is not so unbearable. And they'll give you a community to like, hey, let's be accountable to each other, and let's, and that's what that coach gets you there. And then when you have a community, you have the coach and you have the other people, the peers next to you doing the same thing. You look to your left and right and say, well, they're doing it. Just like in the Army, you're like, you get your buddies next to you and you're like, okay, they're doing it. I need to do it. Oh, I'm scared. Right. But let's do it together. And that it changes
amazing. Everything. Mm-hmm. It does change everything. Just the coach, talking about quitting. Justin didn't rope for 17 years, and that it was circumstances. I mean, it's not cheap, mm-hmm. And we were building businesses, and we had a little kid, and all the things. He was not in great shape either, So it just became less and less of a priority, and so when McKay went to college, he got back into roping. And do you know that I think out of 12 steers, he turned 11, hadn't been on a horse in 17 years. And he told me, he says, because in my mind, I never quit. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I never quit. With circumstances, I couldn't do it at the time, but never quit. And he hasn't stopped since. I mean, he's killing it now, and going all the time. He practices and has a great time. He ropes some in ropings, but more, I say some. He ropes pretty much every weekend, mm-hmm. Not just some. But he loves it. But he loves that community too, know. And I'm so proud of him, getting back in that game, never giving up on a dream, never quitting, to just throw away something that he had passion for and loved. And so that was one thing, I said how I would consider selling my house. Somebody asked me one day, and they're like, where y'all moving? Are you going to move close to McKay? I'm like, heck no, I'm not leaving that gym. Yeah. And they're like, what? You don't think there's another one? I said, not for me, not today. So it's this. I don't want to say it was the finisher, because I'm definitely not done with all the things that I'm going to do in my life. But this was, it has been a game changer, a life changer for me to come in. I mean, I was an athlete as a little kid, and then just didn't do anything for years. And so to come in and progress in my mind as fast as I have in a short amount of time, just because I had a mental change. Not physical, you said you didn't train for a marathon and you ran one. You can do it.
You can do it. You can do anything.
You can do it. Yeah.
You can do anything that you want. I think me and you were talking about this the other day. If someone had a gun, and I know this is extreme, but if someone had a gun to your head, or your family, pointing at your family, you can do anything.
You can do anything.
So, like, why aren't you doing it?
Right. If
you truly want it, and like, what's holding you back from doing it?
Right. And I will say, if it was left up to me on a solo, if I was dependent on myself to come to do this, or to lose weight, or to, spiritually dig down and mm-hmm. and try to change things that maybe were given to me generationally, or trauma, or heal from trauma, just all those things. If I was trying to do that by myself, I I wouldn't have been at a spot. I couldn't depend on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was not in good health. You can't depend on yourself, And so now I have, now I see the worthiness in myself that I can depend on myself. Like I'm going to be here. I don't care.
Yeah.
Not necessarily here, but present
Yeah.
in my life. And, so it's been a really neat journey. I never dreamed I would be this far. But part of that was the pattern of quitting.
Mm-hmm.
I never dreamed I would be this far. I never dreamed that I would dream about stuff that I thought were ridiculous 10 years ago. In fact, taking that test the other day, I was like, man, I know they have me pegged on a few little dramatic issues I have in my life, but I'm so glad I did not take this 5 years ago. I'd be in the red on everything, I was like, gosh, I've come a long way, and so, but what I do love is I love the accountability to other people. That's been a game changer for me and Justin, being accountable to other people and staying in, because we do have bad days, in our heads sometimes. And when those days rise up, I just think about all the people that have gained so much hope from our story and where they are in their life. I'm like, I can't go there. I mean, even though I want to, I can't,
Mm-hmm.
So it does keep us accountable and coachable, because you're going to always change. You can always change.
All right. So how does someone get a hold of you?
Well, you could find me here at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, CrossFit Van Zant, if you want to come here. But if you would like to get a hold of me, they are not paying me to say this, really. I am just here, no matter if you pay me or not pay me.
$20.
Actually, but I do. I have a Facebook, it's public Facebook. Justin and I both do. Alisha Munden and Justin Munden. And then you can also catch me on Instagram. And we're public, so all of our stuff is out there. You can message me, and we'll meet up somehow, whether it be phone call or Zoom or in person, something like that.
And you can be their coach.
I can be their coach. I can help them. You don't necessarily have to. I like to talk to people no matter what the outcome is anyway. And so I love to hear other people's story. And, I try to encourage people, don't be ashamed of your story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the comebacks is a whole lot more than where you were. So, and,
awesome.
And I do say as a believer for myself, it's a responsibility of mine to share, not from a victim standpoint where I have been, but just living in a wholesome life based off of that, from the changes that I've made. I have all the tools. I mean, biblically, I have all the tools. So, I mean,
and when you've taken care of yourself, you can take care of more people.
Absolutely, the capacity that you have to take care of people grows with your health. And I tell everybody, it's your job to pay that forward. It's your job to, I'll just use CrossFit as an example, but, even with what I do, if you love it, if you're passionate about that stuff, bring some people with you along the way. Mm-hmm. And listen, there's going to be skeptical people everywhere. They're always going to think, well, I know it worked for them, but is it going to work for me? Well, the answer is yes. If you work for you, it's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And there's whatever program you do, there's 1,000 reasons not to show up every day. Your kids, your knee hurts, your back hurts. Today is, my cat's birthday. You can tell yourself so many things to not show up and do the work, but it's a coach makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
And keeps you on track, makes you motivated. And in your case, find the root cause of the things that we may not be going into all that at CrossFit. We might be the second step to a lot of your clients. And and then the kind of the maintenance. Let's maintain and keep growing and keep it off and stuff. But
yeah, keep growing and developing every single day. Something better. When you get good at one thing, you roll on. It's time to do something new, or like pull up. So the next time I speak on this podcast, it'll probably be 1 year. CrossFit Games.
Okay.
And I need them to have at least one pull up on there. They will, I'm sure.
Yeah, they will.
It was really fun. I mean, I really thank y'all for really encouraging me to go on. And I don't care about my time. I don't care. I did care about my score whenever I was able to accomplishment that day. But even when I left on Friday, I thought, this is just so. It was fun to me. It was fun to be a part of it. It was fun to, just the judging, the encouragement, and getting to know that other person that you're judging. That was fun.
Well, when they get to the games this year, it'll probably be on ESPN or CBS and Sports or something like that, and you'll know that you were in the first round.
Yeah, that's right. I was in the first round.
Which I like.
I've never been in the first round. It's great, yeah.
In the sport of fitness, which is cool. So, well, thank you so much for being on. I enjoyed it. I love doing this, and I'm like, I got to do more of these.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I hope if you're listening out there that if you were in Alisha's spot a couple years ago, or you have weight to lose, or you're thinking about getting in shape for any reason, you contact Alisha or Justin. Contact us, CrossFitVanZant.com. And I'm Sam Dean, and Alisha Munden and her husband Justin. Phenomenal coaches and good people. And thank you guys for listening. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.